I don't know that there's any person who's achieved a significant dream who would say they did so without failing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's possible.
Right.
You should expect failure
Mm-hmm.
if you're working towards something significant.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be an easy road. It's not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're afraid of failure, then you're going to have a really hard time moving the needle.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Fisher.
And I'm Dave Fisher. We're a husband and wife team of certified financial planners, and together we make up Team Fisher Financial. Welcome to our new series we're calling And Money.
As both a concept and an object, money is a prevalent component of our world and intersects with so many areas of our lives.
By the nature of our job as CFPs, our days are filled with constant conversations around money. Conversations we think are vital for people to consider and understand for their financial universe and beyond.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of And Money. My name is Lauren Fisher. I'm a certified financial planner, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, husband, and fellow CFP, Dave Fisher. We make up Team Fisher Financial, and today we are going to talk about dreams and money, because from
Dream on.
I don't think we have the rights to that.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
It's such a ubiquitous piece of even growing up. One of the question that gets asked to all kids, we've asked it to our kids, is what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
And that's always tied to what profession are you going to have?
Right.
Which means, how are you going to grow up and make money?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? And parents are like, you want to be a doctor? You want to be a lawyer? And the kid's like, I want to be a
firefighter or
which is
a police officer.
Well, right now Jake wants to be a race car driver, and I'm like, okay.
We do watch a little bit of F1 and some Indy, and
he's
really any racing that's on TV. He's a fan of.
He's also a 5-year-old boy, so just fast cars in general make him very happy.
I don't think it'll change much when he turns 16, unfortunately.
Oh goodness, I can't even.
Let's not fast forward to that.
Yeah,
but he does want to be a race car driver.
He wants to be a race car driver. Our daughter is only 2.5, so.
Oh, she looks like she's going to be a dancer, though.
She does.
Or she's going to be a singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm. Which.
And eclipse all of T Swift's records.
I was a dancer growing up, but she genuinely seems to have an interest in it. Mm-hmm. I'm trying not to push it,
don't
even
impose.
Though I don't I don't want to be. I'm not going to be a stage mom over here trying to but don't want to do that. But she seems seems like something with music, more artistic. But anytime there's music on, that
what
girl
did
is
you
moving.
Want to be when you were 5 years old?
I wanted to be a ballerina. I did. I danced. I was classically trained in ballet until I was 12. And then I moved to a more standard studio for a lot of reasons that we won't go into today. But yeah, I wanted to be a ballerina. And as I got older, it was more specific. I wanted to be a principal with the American Ballet Theater.
Oh.
Because my hopes and dreams and goals obviously have changed since I was a little girl. But one thing that has not changed is I do believe that the pinnacle of American ballet is the American Ballet Theater. So I wanted to be a principal dancer with them. That obviously didn't pan out.
We can still dream. Those things happen.
What did you want to be?
I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And I was outside shooting hoops 2 to 4 hours a day. I was homeschooled, so I had plenty of time on my hands. But my dreams were a little shattered around 6th, 7th grade when I was riding the bench for our homeschool basketball team. And I realized this is probably not going to be my future. But hey, you're not supposed to laugh at my dreams. My shattered dreams.
You're riding the bench for your homeschool team.
I still think it was because one of the kids that was in my position, his dad was the coach.
Oh.
A little nepotism.
Oh, maybe a little favoritism going on.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting when it comes to dreams and money, because some dreams can be pursued really easily as a kid. Now, usually it's some form of talent and hard work, and just natural giftedness.
Sometimes genetics plays a role
that you elevate to a certain level, and it could be in performance arts, it could be in sports, but usually you get to a level where it's like, okay, I realize that guy is bigger and faster and stronger and can shoot threes from half court, and I can't do that. So I'm going to bow out, right? But it is interesting that money can get people further many times when it comes to their dreams, even if eventually they don't achieve those dreams.
You're talking about the motivation of money with that. Because when you're a kid...
Well, no, not the motivation. Okay. Even just like the funds available. I was talking about the nepotism.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Where like from family money, if you have the means, like they can enable you to go pursue your dreams for a longer period of time, even when those dreams likely won't come true. I find that very interesting. But there are so many stories from the other end where people come from nothing, and it's just this grit, this desire, this perseverance that I have to achieve this. This is like my life's ambition. So I find it interesting that money does enable, I feel like, the pursuit of those dreams. Mm-hmm. But it isn't the end all be all of whether you achieve your dreams or not.
Which I think a really great example, and I forget her name, the tennis player, her dad is a billionaire. And you know who I'm talking about, right? And she made it to the semis of Wimbledon. Mm-hmm. Was that right?
I think so.
She is a phenomenal tennis player. But in the media and talking heads and a little bit on social media, people kind of wanted to ding her and say, oh, well, you're just at this level because your dad is a billionaire and you got
all the private lessons
and you had access to the best facility. Mm-hmm. Sure. She might need to own that she had some advantage there, but that doesn't mean, like, let's not take away from, you have to work insanely hard to get to any level of like elite athleticism, sport, whatever.
Who was it? The billionaire that just started to go into like the semi-pro tournament.
Bill Ackman.
Oh, yes.
My. So did you watch the video?
No, I didn't. I need to watch it.
And he was like,
let's explain.
Okay, yeah.
So Bill Ackman, billionaire, has managed lots of different investments for people over the years. Sometimes you'll see him crying on CNBC. There's just, different aspects of Bill Ackman that people love and don't like. So Bill Ackman is probably an avid tennis player and decided, how hard could it be to go pro? And he jumps into, basically buys his way into a professional tournament. Was it a semi-pro tournament or a professional tournament?
It was a pro tournament. It was
a pro tournament.
It was a professional tennis. It was tennis association tournament, which there are typically rules around who can be invited.
You have to be, it's like a certain ranking system. And then you have invite only.
Which are wild cards.
Yeah.
Typically those are reserved for, let's say, I don't know, Novak Djokovic or...
Well, he doesn't need a wild card.
But Nadal is... both of them have gotten wild card invitations when they were injured, came back, didn't have the quote-unquote rankings, but, two of the best players in the world, you're going to get an invite to the tournament.
Want the audience to appreciate that.
Yep. Those are the reasons that you would get a wild card invite. And it's still, to my knowledge, it still remains unclear why he got a wild card invite.
I feel like it was some sort of bet that it was
or there was some quid pro quo, or you're gonna see like some new construction happening at some, like there's something that was behind that, and that one he got eviscerated, and frankly rightly so, because there's a difference between you grew up with privilege, so I'm gonna ding you solely because you have privilege, and I'm a billionaire who hasn't earned this, but I'm gonna pay my way in and make a fool of myself. And he deserved every bit of ridicule he got for how badly he played.
But what's funny is, like, it probably at some point in time in his life was a dream to be a professional tennis player, and money enabled him to like jump over all of these steps to enter a professional tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, money can be an enabler and help people to achieve these goals or their dreams without actually doing the work to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have bitterness because of that, right?
Yes.
But the flip side of it is are the people that came from absolutely nothing. And I think of remember that movie A Million Miles Away with Michael Pena? And he comes from a migrant.
Oh, the astronaut.
Yes, exactly. So it's based off of a real person, Jose Moreno Hernandez, and he wants to be an astronaut. In fact, he remembers by age 10, he wanted to be an astronaut, and he saw the Apollo 17 landing, and that like burned this desire within him. And he was from a migrant farm working family.
Yeah, I remember this. They lived in like California.
They lived in Mexico. And would go up to California for picking season and then go back down.
But they would go like kind of travel around California. So even his schooling was really tough because he was never in one place for a really long time. And he had already been up, by the time school started, he had already been up for what, 3 to 4 hours?
Yes. So he's exhausted.
Yeah, and still excelled as a student. Okay, keep going. I completely forgot about this movie. Yes.
So one thing about this is like, I loved it, and you're right where I wanted to go. So many people think that dreams are achieved by like pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. And yes, he was like die hard in his perseverance and attack and trying to make this dream come to fruition. But there are people along the way, like his dad, who supported him through thick and thin. His second grade teacher that enabled them through a picture of saying like, your children are like trees. You are transplanting the trees over and over again. How can they grow up to be strong? They're going to grow up to be weak because they're constantly moving. And
she told his parents this.
That was her analogy she used to help them understand like our moving is actually hurting our children and hurting them achieving their dreams. And especially for Jose, like that was one of the pivotal points in his life where he could actually spend more time on education and focus. He graduated from high school, graduated from college, became an electrical engineer. Actually, one of his key pieces that he contributed to society before he even became an astronaut was he helped with the invention of the mobile mammogram machine.
What?
Yeah. He was instrumental in that. He was a key figure in developing that instrument. So many people at that point in time, they'd be like, okay, I'm not an astronaut, but
I've achieved like that's an incredible achievement.
Like, you've gone from a migrant farm worker to, hey, I am making money and contributing to society. Like I'm fulfilled. It's great. Like you could end the movie there and be like, man, great job.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, my dream is to be an astronaut. I don't think you guys understand. This is my dream. So he applied to NASA 11 times, getting 11 rejections.
Oof.
And in the midst of all of those rejections, he was basically developing his skill set to make him look more appealing so that they would accept him into the program. Which
I didn't realize, and I'm not sure how much of that from the movie is dramatized, but he was getting his pilot's license.
Yes.
They were doing
True.
the underwater, like it shows him like the underwater training that they did. Like he got his scuba certification. The amount of things that he had to do. He learned Russian in case there were cosmonauts who would be a part of.
He would have to fly out of Russia if need be. Right.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, being an astronaut, the level of skill that they have to have. Because at first I'm like, why would he be rejected 11 times? He clearly is an incredibly smart person. And his wife, right, was really supportive.
Very supportive and moved to Houston when he got accepted. He was actually an engineer for NASA for a while and then got accepted into the program. and then on August 28th, 2009, flew to space.
Wow.
And it was 2 weeks, roughly almost 2 weeks. And he landed in California about 80 miles from where he was picking strawberries.
Stop.
Yeah. He called it poetic justice.
Wow. That's amazing. And all because he chose not to give up on his dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a rarity, though.
Right.
Because when we said like, hey, let's do one about like dreams and goals and stuff, where my mind first went was, when we first talked about what did you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be a ballerina. You wanted to be a professional basketball player. Our son wants to be a race car driver. And that as people get older, because of the motivation around money and realizing as you grow up, there's a very specific skill set for a lot of these that you don't have, and you've got to kind of pivot.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about ballet
specifically.
But it pivots into your childhood dreams kind of get looked at as like, aw, that's sweet, and move into, okay, how reality of like, okay, how am I going to make money? What am I going to actually do with my life? Because regardless of anything, we all realize like it costs money to live, to be alive. Like even right now, we're spending money. We have an AC running in our house. We've
computers going.
We got computers. We've got Wi-Fi. Lights, just everything.
Dogs out there, they cost money.
Dogs cost a lot of money. Jeez. Just boarding them.
Yeah.
The most expensive part of our vacation. We talked about travel last week. The most expensive part of our vacation was boarding both of those dogs.
Crazy. But what I think about with the dream aspect is so many people shift. They pivot, right? It may be that we grow up and we learn how the real world works, that we can contribute to society, make money in lots of different ways. Instead of thinking of, 5 careers, we have an idea that there's something more to life than that. It also probably is some aspect of realizing that our careers can't fulfill us. It is interesting, though, how many people pivot. Maybe it depends on the dream that you have, where I'm not gonna be 6'5" and 220 pounds and dunk a basketball, or I don't know, be able to shoot from Steph Curry distance. So that's not going to be in my wheelhouse. That's okay. Maybe I can play recreationally periodically and fulfill a little bit of that.
Right.
But
except you keep breaking your nose every time you go play basketball.
Not every time. I've only broken it twice. It's
only
fine.
Broken it twice. Okay. Yeah. Both doing what?
Playing basketball. So this isn't about my trials and tribulations on the basketball court. Still trying to make it, guys.
It's a pickup game. You don't need to be that competitive.
Some people would argue the opposite.
Okay.
But it is interesting. Like, this is a story that is very rare. That 1 in a million type of story.
Which is why it was turned into a movie.
A million miles away.
A million miles.
But I think there is some aspect to it that comes from tenacity, from perseverance. I think there's that quote from Calvin Coolidge that your dad loves.
Yes. About persistence.
Yes. It's like nothing in the world can take the place of persistence.
Yeah. And there are 3 things.
It's talent.
Talent cannot.
Yeah. Genius. Education.
Prayer. Education. Yes. He says the world, in the quote, he says the world is filled with uneducated derelicts.
So good.
Yeah.
Probably more so now than ever before. And I have it right there. So persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan "Press On" has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. That there's something poetic about that you may not be the smartest. You may not have the best quality education. Maybe your talent, like natural given abilities, aren't the best, but your persistence in continuing on when other people aren't will differentiate you.
And I think when it comes to dreams, like we've mainly been talking about like career dreams,
Sure.
but as you grow up and you move into a career, and for a lot of people, it's not, you know, I don't think a lot of 5-year-olds were like, I want to be a software engineer, or like, I want to do data analysis, whatever it is.
Why are you picking on the IT field?
Well, we're in Austin. There's a lot of tech here. But I think some of that pivots into as you move into your career.
Mm-hmm.
Dreams, especially when it comes to money, pivot to what do you want your life to look like? And
Yeah.
that's so much of our job is helping people figure out what are your dreams, what are your goals for yourself, for your kids, for your legacy, and how can we make the money decisions to help you get to that point. And I think persistence is a piece of it that people don't really think about when it comes to money decisions. But we have some of our most quote unquote, if you want to say successful clients that we have who are nearing or in retirement are people who, if you look at their job titles and the amount of like the salaries that they made throughout their earning years wasn't anything particularly outlandish.
Sure.
But they lived below their means and they saved consistently and they persisted in making wise decisions. And now we get to have really fun conversations with those people where we say, you know, there are clients and prospects that we have that we are concerned about their ability to, let's forget about fulfill your dreams, just like not outlive your money.
Right.
But for these people, they have this incredible freedom to say, okay, what do you want to do? The
Who
point,
do you want to help?
The
Who
point,
do you want to be?
the point that you've been dreaming about all these years and you've been persistently planning for all of these years, it's here. And now you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And
that's an amazing conversation to have. We've been fortunate to be in those conversations where the world is your oyster. How do you want to impact the world? Who do you want to be? How can we use these funds that you've grown diligently to actually make that come true?
How do you want to be remembered?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people disconnect those two. And you talked about it in a previous episode about how they did a study where they showed people what they would look like when they got older.
Oh yeah.
And it helped them make better financial choices because they were able to connect the fact that when you're saving money, people kind of a lot of times feel like when you're putting money away in whatever type of investment vehicle, whatever it looks like, that it just goes away. It's like you're spending it. When in real, like, no, you are giving it to future you. Like, think of it that way.
And likely, if you're doing a good job of that, your kids and maybe even your grandkids, like you're storing up a financial legacy that you get to build. One thing I always hear, and like our dreams change over time.
Yes.
What I find interesting, and it's maybe not a dream per se in the context of a dream, but for our retired clients, typically the number one thing we hear them say is, I don't want to be a burden on my children. That is kind of their dream. Is like, I've built this up. I want to be wise with it. I've been wise. I want to continue that wisdom. Help me do the right things with it. And their dream is like, I want to effectively not be a burden to my children and foster that relationship and let it develop even deeper and grow like better roots instead of being a burden and causing potential strife in the family dynamic. I think they realize there's a lot of wisdom that they've gained. I think they realize that money can either be a positive or a huge negative.
Yes.
In relationships.
And sometimes it's a very thin line between those two.
Right. So like in that aspect, our dreams changed, right? You're not 5 wanting to be a firefighter or a ballerina or an NBA basketball player. Like your dream has changed to, I want to be a blessing to my kids.
But when you think about it, whether it's any of those things or like a crazy story of somebody wanting to be an astronaut and achieving that, looking at what does it take for anybody to achieve a dream? It takes persistent, hard work. It takes a lot of grit and tenacity that people don't see. And it can be so much easier to just stick your head in the sand. And instead of actually doing the work ahead of time, because that's harder, to just not do anything about it. And then the time comes and the clock's run out. And then you're stuck with some really, really hard choices that...
More of a nightmare scenario. Not a dream.
And I think it's been interesting for us, like our story, when we talk about dreams, because every time our anniversary comes up, I just internally, I laugh because...
Wow.
No!
This is going to go somewhere.
Just keep, stay with me. I have a point.
I laugh.
I laugh
because
I have a point, and it's a good one.
All right.
Oh my word. Like, if we got married very young. We got married just out of college. I was 22, you were almost 24. And our dream, our idea of what our life was going to look like doesn't even remotely resemble where we are today. God had very, very, very different plans than what we had. And so I laugh because I think, like, if somebody were to come to us, if they had a crystal ball at our wedding and they were like, we just celebrated our 13-year anniversary. In 13 years, you're going to be working together as financial planners.
Way.
You're going to have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, both of whom are adopted.
Awesome. I love them.
Yes. And my response would be like,
you'd be working.
I would be, I'd be like, I'm sorry. So I'm working. Our kids are 5 and 2, which means we were married for almost 8 years before kids came into the picture. We're working together. He's not a planner.
No.
He's working in tech. I probably would be like, I think you got the wrong wedding. Like, I think, love that you have this premonition.
Jeff and Joanna are down the street.
That must be a wedding down the street, because that is, I would have not believed it.
Right.
So it's been so fun. And that's why I say I laugh, because as I look back on what our plans were, I was going to work for, a couple years, and then we were going to start having biological kids, and we would adopt later, and I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and you were going to work
breadwinner, baby.
Yeah, and you were going to be a, whatever developer thingy that you were doing.
Middle management.
Yes.
Yes.
And
VP and senior VP.
Yeah, and we were going to just kind of plod along in that life, and we were very excited about that life.
Yeah.
And
it's different.
That's not at all
that's
what
not
it
what
looks
we're
like.
doing. Yeah. But
I love it. I love everything about what it looks like right now.
You know what I find interesting about it is, like, our dreams often don't line up with what happens later on. And from there, and we're going to do a podcast on this, but like, failure in some form or fashion oftentimes leads to certain dreams being fulfilled that we have now.
Yes.
Or just the lack of quote unquote fulfillment, where you thought you were going to be fulfilled doing XYZ and you realize, oh, no, that's not fulfilling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Scheffler, bring it up again.
Mm-hmm.
He said it well, like golf is not fulfilling in the way that people think it is. Winning is not fulfilling in the way people think it is.
Yeah.
And it resonated with a lot. There are a lot of professional athletes that reached out to him after that. And they basically confirmed the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting, like in terms of it, it's like failure also breeds new dreams. And if you're not willing to fail at something, pursuing the dream you have, you might not be that person in the future.
I don't know that there's any person who's achieved a significant dream who would say they did so without failing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's possible.
Right.
You should expect, I almost feel like you should expect failure if you're working towards something significant.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be an easy road. It's not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're afraid of failure, then you're going to have a really hard time moving the needle.
Yeah.
And I remember before we were working together, when I had some employees who reported to me, the hardest employees to manage, the employees that I really struggled to see growth, see them excel in their jobs, were the people who were afraid to fail. They were terrified of making a mistake. And that fear led to them being paralyzed. Like they could not take on a project. They couldn't I couldn't send them an email and say, hey, I need this by end of day, unless it had every step.
They're going to ask a million questions.
Point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I spend 2 hours telling you point by point how to do it, I could have just done it myself in an hour. It's not why I hired you. I hired you to go do it.
Go figure it out.
Yeah. And the people who didn't let that bother them were the ones. And I had an interview question that I would ask everybody that would tell me immediately. And I will say the people who got hired that were afraid of failure were people who I did not screen. So just saying. And the question was, let's say you get hired, you come on, and I give you a prompt and I need something done by the end of the day. And I get pulled into a meeting and I'm not available to help you or give you any guidance. What do you do? And there were one of two types of answers. The first answer, which pretty much ruled him out, was I would wait for you to be done with your meeting.
So you're going to sit around all day.
So you're going to sit around all day, even though I've told you I need this by the end of the day. And then the second was I'd probably start with Google, which now would be like, I'd probably go on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I'd look in the company files and see if anything similar had already been done, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Those people, I was like, okay. And they were few and far between because it was the people who, number one, knew that mistakes and failure were just part of life. And so it's more important to get the job done than to not do it because it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And just like, there are resources at your fingertips. Go use them. I think that absolutely applies to dreams too.
Well, now especially, like any resource you wanted is available to you.
And on the flip side, and this is a little bit of a tangent, like ChatGPT has kind of hindered people's critical thinking skills.
Hey, they're coming out with that study mode so that it doesn't just give you the answers anymore.
Oh, they are? Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So for all the kids that are trying to get the answers, you have to go to the regular ChatGPT. But the parents, they can make it be study and they can actually learn and it will guide people through.
Good, because we were talking earlier about persistence. If it's become so easy for kids to get an answer without trying, we're going
to be the fat people in floaty chairs very soon.
From WALL-E.
Yeah.
But it's also like you're going to crumble at the first like tiniest little bit of potential failure or potential need to like use any sort of grit or determination to do anything because you've always just been spoon-fed the information.
Right.
How are you going to go be able to like work and do the hard work necessary to achieve your goals if you've never had to work hard in your entire life?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I think of that dreamer mentality where dreamers sometimes get a negative connotation of their heads in the clouds. They're thinking like all this ethereal type stuff, but they might lack the initiative to actually get started.
Mm-hmm.
So there are lots of dreamers out there and they have great ideas, but none of them are going to come to fruition because they're not taking any action,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like you have to have both. A dreamer that's achieving their dreams has to, first of all, have their head in the clouds somewhat. They have to be thinking like big picture, like crazy stuff. But then they also have to have that perseverance, that drive to take the first step, then the next step, and the step after that until they actually build toward that dream. So it's both qualities that you need to actually achieve your dreams.
Which I think you're describing a lot of entrepreneurs. And one thing that I've seen people like roll their eyes at is a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners have said in the past, there's kind of been a thread where people say like, when I started my business, I didn't care about the money, and the money is not what drove me.
Right.
Achieving the dream is what drove me. But these are like, I've heard Mark Cuban say that. Yeah. I've heard, I think Jeff Bezos has said that. I think Warren Buffett has said that. I've heard a lot of other just not household name entrepreneurs say that. Yeah. And a lot of times you can look at that when you hear a billionaire say, oh, I didn't care about the money, and be like, okay, sure. Yeah, you don't care about the money.
And sitting on your 250-foot yacht.
Yeah. And so like some of that, and to an extent, I can understand where that like feels a little tone deaf to say, just depending on the context and the audience and what you're talking about. But I think their point is exactly that. They had a dream that they wanted to achieve. And the metrics they were using, it wasn't, how much money am I bringing in?
Right.
It was, how am I fulfilling this goal?
At least not initially. Yeah.
Not initially.
But how I want to achieve this dream. And I have this dream, and many people that dream and then go pursue that dream, not focused on the money, actually many times end up with a lot of money. It's ironic that method where many folks are like, I'm just going to build this so I can get the money. It just doesn't work as well because you don't have the passion behind it.
Yeah. And passion is going back to childhood dreams. Yeah. Like you have those dreams because it's something you're passionate about. I wanted to be a ballerina because I was obsessed with ballet. Still am. I love ballet so much. I've started showing Haley, our 2.5-year-old, some of my favorite variations and solos of famous ballerinas and famous ballets. And she loves it. And it makes me so happy.
You can't wait to take her to the Nutcracker.
When she's old, she needs to be like 6 or 7 to really be able to sit through it and not, be an annoyance to other people. But yeah. But my point is like, I wanted to be a ballerina because I love ballet. You wanted to be
basketball player
because you love basketball.
Yeah.
Jake wants to be a race car driver because he loves fast cars. And he's a daredevil, and that scares me. But some of it is like, he's 5, but he's that kid that I'm like, I don't know if you're actually going to grow out of this, but we'll see. But all of that to say, like, dreams usually don't come from a place of like, I want to do this so that I can make the most money. That's usually when, going back to like the parents being like, want to be a doctor? You want to be a lawyer? Like the parents are thinking about the money. The kids are just thinking about like, I want to do something that would be fun for the rest of my life. And that, as people mature, that changes. But when you talk about people really who are so hyper focused and so persistent towards their goals and their dreams, they're driven by passion. And I wish people could kind of harness some of that passion when it comes to like, you can achieve those, like your retirement dreams, if you're willing to sacrifice now.
Yeah.
But you have to have some level of determination with it.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, then it's going to be really hard to convince you to make any changes
Let's
necessary.
just throw some money against the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
It's not going to work that way. And I like to caveat this too, because like you said it at the beginning, we tend to think about dreams as our careers, like what we're going to do for a living to make money. But so many people's dreams go far beyond that. Folks that start nonprofits are caring for so many people that need extra care.
Yes.
There's so many dreams outside of making money that make life better, that make this world a better place. And for folks like that have a heart for others, like keep dreaming and keep taking those steps, because you're going to impact hundreds, thousands of people in your lifetime and after you're gone. And that's a legacy that I feel like is way more important than even the money that you're planning on leaving.
Yeah.
And the dreams of having a certain number of millions in the bank, or in your investment accounts, like that dream is not fulfilling in the same way that you caring for others can definitely be a lot more fulfilling.
Yeah. And to your point, that's where the motivation comes from, to make the sacrifices now.
Yes.
It's not like, look, if you do this, you're going to have some arbitrary number on a screen at age XYZ when you want to be retired or whatever. And it's so much more. And I think just anecdotally from what I've seen with clients, with friends, just stories that we've heard, the more altruistic and the more others focused the dreams are, the more passion and tenacity I see with it.
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
But I love talking about dreams. I think there's something to be said for people that dream. But it is much harder to actually go do that, right? To take the steps to achieve that dream. So with that being said, I love talking to you, engaging with you about this topic.
Yeah, I do too. It was a really interesting discussion, and I don't think there's much more to say, at least for the time being. So we will wrap it up there. We will see y'all next week. We appreciate you tuning in, and we hope you keep coming back. Thanks, y'all.